Alright folks, how's everybody doing? So today we're gonna put in a new ability into my game. It's gonna be like a rage ability from World of Warcraft, where it's like a Berserker rage, where you hit it and your rage regeneration regenerates at 100% speed or something, so that you can use all your rage abilities like crazy for 10 seconds or something. So I'm going to make that feature, show you how I did it, and yeah, let's get started. Alright, so I got the code in, everything seems to work. I'm going to give you a demo of what exactly we got going on here, and then I'll run you through how it works and talk about a bit of balancing with the numbers that I just did. So you right click, it activates, and you can see my rage is stuck going up. And this will last for 10 seconds, and then it will start to decay. You'll see that in a second. There, 10 seconds is up, it's decaying. You can still use it though, but it'll just decay as normal, and then of course you have to build it back up with your other abilities. Okay, inside the Greatsword Berserk ability that I created, we have a few requirements. So we have stamina cost, the cooldown, the animation, the icon, the action bar slot that it goes in, the duration, and the amount of rage that it actually generates. Then extra stuff is the particle effects, which I'll probably add later. I don't know if I'm going to or not. And then if it's a right-handed ability, which it is. So the idea is, it's pretty simple. Basically, when you right-click, perform ability is called. It will make sure you have enough stamina to use it, because it still costs 20 stamina currently. It'll call handle berserk. It checks if you're interacting. If you're not, it will continue forward. It will play the animation. It will use the stamina, and then it will ready the ability. And now what this ability readying does is basically, there is an animation event inside of each ability that calls cast ability. And this is handled inside the ability cast handler. It's a different class. But essentially what ready ability does is it sets the ability inside of ability cast handler, so that when the animation event goes off, it already has that ability primed and loaded, and then it will call cast ability, which links back to here, because we need a reference to this ability stored somewhere, so that when the animation goes off, it knows which one was actually executing. So cast ability gets called towards the end of the animation, which takes us to our rage bar, where we set the length of how long it's going to last for, the amount of rage generated. We start the timer, which is called recharge timer. We set Berserk to active, and we also set the rage state to regen, which is a new state that I've added. Now, the regen state, when put into the regen state, it will make sure the recharge timer is greater than 0. If it is, we're still inside of the Berserk ability, so we will decrease the timer towards 0, and we'll also generate rage for the duration, which basically will just generate the amount of rage that you've passed it, like every tick, essentially. So once the duration is over, this will fail. It will go to the else statement, where it will set Berserk to Berserk active to false. It will start the decharge timer, which is the delay between when you are basically when you use rage, it will stop it'll stop all function for a delay before it starts to decay, and then it will set the rage state to waiting. And the waiting state, of course, is where it goes when it's in between degenerating or regenerating. It's the delay. So the only other thing that I added was I added a flag here to make sure that it doesn't exit the regen stage while Berserk is active, because normally if you are using your rage, so if you have 50 rage, you use an ability that uses 25 rage, it will basically immediately put your rage bar into a waiting state and prepare to start degenerating. So while Berserk is active, we don't want that to happen because we want to just go up forever. So that is it was a really simple ability, but it's really fun to use. It adds a lot to the class, and I will now talk a bit about balancing. For this section, I'm going to talk a bit about the number adjustments I made, and if you're not interested in this, that's fine. You can just click off the video. The implementation is done. This is just the part where I try to make the ability cooldowns and damage numbers and resource usages make sense. So since I added a rage meter, it's kind of like, if you think about it, the rage meter adds a cooldown to each ability that is non-visible because it takes a certain amount of time while you attack to get enough rage to use an ability. So in a way, it's like a cooldown that is always there, but it's not particularly a cooldown. And so in order to make the class still fun, because you have to work to get rage by using, your worse abilities, and then once you get enough rage, you can use your better ones, like Execution, which does a really high amount of damage. So I decided to make the actual cooldowns of the abilities very low, because I want people to be spamming these abilities. It's not meant to be a class with long cooldowns. It's meant to have almost no downtime, and you're always trying to decide what you want to do with your rage before you try to build it back up again. So the idea is basically when you use Berserk, you want to be at full rage, and I'll show you why. So Berserk lasts 4 seconds. I reduced the cooldown from 10 seconds, and this is why, because if you have a full rage bar and you use Berserk, you have enough time to go through all of your abilities and see, look, right on the last one, it stopped. So you have just enough time to go through all of your highest damage abilities while Berserk is active. Now, if I have a empty rage bar and I use Berserk, it has to charge up first, and that takes a lot of time. And so you can still get it off, but you see what I'm saying. If you start with a full rage bar, you can potentially finish with more rage, because let me just do another demonstration. Wait for this to be over. Okay, so rage is full. I use this. It's already full. That saves some time. I use my number 1 ability. And see, look, now I'm finishing with that extra rage, and I'll be able to use my Execution off cooldown again for a little finisher. And so the idea is that you're saving yourself that extra second it takes to charge all the way up to the top. Now, your normal ability rotation is going to be these light attacks stacked with your uppercut. And now your uppercut generates 25 rage and is on a super low cooldown. So it's only on a 7-second cooldown. It doesn't do damage, really. It does 25 damage, which is not very much. But it generates 25 rage, which is a lot. So your general combos without using your Berserk ability are going to look like, left click, uppercut, and then your full rage. And then you're going to be using your left click again until your uppercut's off cooldown, and then you have another ability you can use. And you'll never have enough rage to use 2 abilities in a row unless you use your Berserk ability. So, you're using your uppercut to top off your rage, Execution. You're auto-attacking until your uppercut's off. Use that, pop Berserk, and now we're using that. We're going to do a dash strike, and then we're going to finish with a whirlwind. A couple more of these, top it off with uppercut, and then your Execution off cooldown again. So you can see how you're always doing things. Always trying to optimize, how you're using your abilities, balancing with your rage bar. So that is largely where the thought of the balancing went into. It feels fun right now. It feels like a lot of fun, actually. It's really cool. I'm happy with it. So I'm going to conclude the video here. Thanks for watching. If you got this far, I hope you found this informative or entertaining in some way, or, you know, just, I guess, a little bit of it scratched the itch you had being curious about how this sort of thing is done. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos like this, and I guess follow our game on Twitter, wish listed on Steam, all that stuff, and let me know what you think of this format. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.